From Washington, this is VOA News. Islamic State forces close in on Syrian town near the Turkish border. Progress reported in the fight against Ebola. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. The United Nations Special Envoy to Syria says Kurds defending the city of Kobani against the Islamic State are very close to no longer being able to fight off the militants. Staffan de Mistura says the Kurds are fighting with great courage, but that the international community needs to come to their defense. He said other cities that have fallen into Islamic State hands suffer through massacres, rapes, and horrific violence. The United States says its air campaign against the militants near Kobani has been useful. Turkey's President Erdogan says bombs are not enough and a major ground offensive is needed. Hong Kong students and government officials have reached an agreement to begin formal talks on demands for political reforms. They are scheduled for Friday. Myanmar, also known as Burma, says President Thein Sein pardoned more than 3,000 prisoners. The order releases anyone with at least 1 year of time served and less than 6 months left of their sentence. The latest amnesty comes as the country's reformist government prepares for next month's meeting of Asia-Pacific leaders in Myanmar. The head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control says the fight against Ebola in Africa will be long and hard, but there are real signs of progress. Dr. Thomas Frieden says this includes better training, more understanding of the virus, and safer practices, including burials for Ebola victims. Dr. Frieden says there are no new cases in Nigeria, and the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is contained. He also says there is a decrease in the number of new cases in parts of Liberia, one of the hardest-hit countries. This is VOA News. The Hague-based International Criminal Court opened a 2-day status hearing on a case against Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Kenyan leader faces crimes against humanity, charges that are related to his alleged role in post-election violence 7 years ago. Lisa Bryant reports.
The first day of the status hearing at the International Criminal Court pretty much ended the way it began, with the prosecution claiming the Kenyan government was blocking access to key documents for its case against President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the defense arguing it was doing its best to comply. At the end of the 2-hour hearing, prosecution lawyer Benjamin Gumpert summed up his frustrations.
We are, I would respectfully submit, deadlocked.
Kenya's president faces 5 counts at the ICC for his alleged role in overseeing post-election violence in late 2007 and early 2008. Lisa Bryant, Paris.
A new report says at least 11,000 people have been killed as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency in northeastern Nigeria. The estimate comes from researchers at the Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced International Studies, who compiled a database on deadly violence in Nigeria that goes back to 1998. At least 8 militants are dead in northwest Pakistan following 2 suspected U.S. drone strikes on Tuesday on Taliban compounds. Both attacks happened in the North Waziristan tribal region. As Islamic State militants continue to terrorize Iraqi civilians, the UN warns it is struggling to cope with the humanitarian needs of almost 2 million people displaced by violence in that country. VOA's Margaret Bashir reports.
The UN's Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator in Iraq, Kevin Kennedy, said via a video link from Erbil that there needs to be a sustained international effort to address the growing humanitarian crisis.
While we understand that the world's attention is focused primarily on the very serious security situation in Iraq and the region, we believe that the humanitarian situation, which is the other side of the coin, deserves equal serious consideration and the full support of all who can lend a hand.
Kennedy said the UN and its partners are facing 3 major challenges: reaching those in need because they are spread among 1,500 locations in Iraq, some not under government control, a shortage of shelter, and the impending winter. Margaret Bashir, VOA News, the United Nations.
The Nobel Prize in Chemistry will be announced today. On Tuesday, 2 Japanese scientists and a Japanese-born American physicist were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics for their invention of the environmentally friendly blue light-emitting diodes, commonly known as LEDs. The 3 were honored for their work in the 1990s in creating energy-efficient white light from semiconductors. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.